Good morning. Welcome to the Oregon Fly Fishing Blog. Tony Torrence here. We are going to tie a Surface Seducer double barrel slider this morning in a baitfish pattern. The other day I went smallmouth fishing with my son and whipped up a couple of these to test out on the river, and it was the pattern for the day. We have out migrating American shad right now, the fry, and the smallies were just gobbling them up. So this pattern, you can add a little glitter on there, and I will talk about that briefly. Just take your Loon rubber cup here, mix up some liquid fusion in there, a little dab of that, add some extra fine glitter, and paint your head after you stick on the eye. What I'm using for an eye here is a holographic 3/16 super pearl from Hareline. This is just an adhesive eye, and I use a little Zap-a-Gap gel to stick that bad boy on there. And I do those heads up before I place them on the fly. Just use a toothpick, run your pilot hole, put your toothpick in there, and then do your coatings if you wish to do that. You don't have to, but it just adds a little more flash. And this one here, I put a little red edge for a gill on there, just on the bottom of the popper, so, or the slider head. So let's get started by tying one of these. They're a fairly simple pattern. We got a number 6 Surface Seducer popper hook, and we're using a small white body, and they come with the what to use with them, the number 6 hooks, which I have in a 3mm eye if you're going to place them in the eye holes. Got a little Veevus white thread here. Just going to get this started and cover this area, and I'm just going to take the popper head and slide it on here so I can see the area where I want to put my glue and where I want to stop my tying, and that's about right. I can look up and behind the popper head, and I want it to, the thread to stop, or the materials to stop right in that area there. So what I'll do is I'm just going to build a little bump here just to remind myself, and then come back and start tying. The tail is going to be of a Steve Farrar flash blend in a UV white. And these fry that the smallies were puking up weren't that big, so you know, you don't have a really long tail on this fly. And better to have it a little bit long to stabilize the slider so it doesn't shoot side to side. And you can always trim it back when you're out there. This material is easily trimmed if you were to need to. Trim that off. And then next I'm going to add some lateral flash here in a Opal Mirage lateral flash. And a couple strands is fine. I just start it right at that area there, and then try to keep it all on top of the fly. The reason I don't put it under the fly or on the sides is because I want it to shine through the body, or the tail per se, which is part of the body of the baitfish, and then I'll cut these in incremental distances or lengths. So there's my tail, and that when you look at it from the underside in the water, the tail of this fly really lights up, and I think helps the fly quite a bit. Next, we will use some UV polar chenille, this in the silver UV, and I will tie that right in here and then come on back to where I want it to start. I want to put a little bit of a taper on this, so what I'm going to do is leave the starting fibers kind of long, and then come in here with my scissors and just kind of trim this up a little shorter as it goes up, because I want the body to to fill out with shorter fibers close to the popper head. And then I want the length of the back fibers to kind of mix in with that tail a little bit. So the shorter fibers will stick out a little bit further and give a little bulk. So we'll just wrap this around next. Just kind of sweep this material back as you're going. And after you're done, if you don't like what you see, you can always take the scissors and just kind of trim it a little more. Okay, so I'm right where I need to be. Kind of clean that up a little bit. And having a little bulk there is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just going to put a little trim on that. And that'll give you your body. When this gets wet, this all lays down and just makes a really nice blend of materials. A little whip finish. Doesn't matter where, because it's going to get glue all over it. So now I'm going to take my popper body and just kind of lay that in there and make sure everything looks, yep, I've got it where I need it to be. One thing I want to talk about is these eyes. These are an eye that's kind of a 3D effect, and I didn't have any problems hooking fish with these sticking out, or coming off for that matter, because I put the Zap-a-Gap eye to stick it on there. I use the Zap-a-Gap, and then I use that liquid fusion to coat everything so that eye is really on there. You can use a flat adhesive eye as well, which would cut down the bulk and kind of get out of the way of the hook gap a little more. So that is another option. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this, and I'm going to take and put some water and soak this really well, because I'm going to use Gorilla Glue to stick these popper body heads on here. And I've had really good luck with this this glue keeping things in place, so I'm just going to keep using it till it proves me wrong. This stuff, don't get it on anything. It will destroy stuff. So put something down on your desk or on your vise if you're prone to accidents, as I am, just to protect things. And a little bit goes a long way, because the water on this acts as a catalyst, and this glue expands. So you don't want to get too much on it, but enough to get the job done. Here probably is a bit much, and I'm just going to get this around on here. Keep it up towards the front if you can, because it will expand and it will get into your materials back here, and you don't want that to expand and create a big mess back there as well. I'm going to add just a little more water to this. I'm going to slide this popper head on here, and I don't see too much sticking out. And then I'll set this off the side and let it dry, and we have a simple slider baitfish. Hope you like the pattern and give her a try on your waters. It definitely is a killer on smallmouth when there are shad in the water. Thanks for watching and have a great day.